Hello, everybody. It's Jesse here, and this is I'm gonna take some time to talk about this Kony 2012 thing, and when cause I watched the documentary, and there's no doubt. I'm pretty sure this guy is a very bad dude, and and that he should be stopped. Excuse me, but there's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of speculations, and there's a lot of skepticism about this, and rightfully so. Um, so I'm going to present you with a couple of articles here. I'm not going to read them all to you. I'm just going to briefly explain them. Um, and you can come to your own conclusions, guys. But I'm going to tell you right now that this whole thing has mainstream media written all over it. And you know from time and time again that you will not get the truth from the mainstream media, and a lot of sources you have to watch out here on the internet as well. Um, the only thing we can do is, read what these things say, and then look at other facts. What's going on? You got to remember, deception is the main thing. Deception is the name of the game. Okay? And clearly, I believe that this is another market of deception. So, okay. Obviously, let me move this down here a little bit. Um, Obviously, we have, this is the Kony 2012 video. It's got over 70 million views. I mean, it shot through the roof within a couple of days. Um, which raised a question in and of itself. Um, and also the fact that, when you look at the stats of this, it's like mainly teenagers that are really into this and everything like that. It's mainly the younger crowd. And nothing against you guys, but it seems like they're always the target of something. Uh, so this is the Kony 2012 documentary. I'm going to take you to an article here. And obviously you can see right here is the Kony movement a ploy to steal Uganda's oil. Okay. It says, yesterday pop singer Rihanna was among several celebrities who used social networking to bring awareness to a viral video that was created by a charity group calling themselves Invisible Children. The charity's goal is to bring notoriety to the brutal Lord's Resistance Army and its leader Joseph Kony, who allegedly abducts children from their villages and forces them to become soldiers for the LRA. The charity calls upon celebrities and politicians to help publicize the plight of the child soldiers so that President Obama will continue to fund U.S. troops who are advising Ugandan troops on how to capture Kony. And it goes on, timing is everything, and the timing of this Kony movement has skeptics speaking out about the group's tactics. In November, foreignaffairs.com, you can go there, I haven't checked that one out yet, published an article criticizing the Invisible Children's charity for manipulating the facts and for exaggerating the scale of LRA abductions and murders of children. Another theory floating around is that the Kony movement is just a smokescreen for a grassroots effort to register young voters for the upcoming election, and that's what basically it's been focused on. I mean, it's mainly focused on the young people. More young people are buying into this. And it was the younger crowd that supposedly, don't get all up in a hoot. I mean, your votes don't count. I mean, they put in who they want to put in. You don't have no voting privileges. um, they say Joseph Kony is already in U.S. custody, and that the Obama administration is waiting for the opportune moment to parade him in front of the cameras. A royal leader who asked not to be identified thinks this movement is really about the U.S. gaining control of Uganda's rich oil resources. And there's an email here, goes on. Now this is why I say that the mainstream has their hands all over this. Okay. Let's see. Well, they look like they took some of it down. Anyways, this basically goes into what it is. But people like Oprah, Bill Clinton, all these people are supporting this. You know, giving them donations and everything like that. And well, can you actually trust those people? If you got those people giving donations to this group for promoting this whole Kony 2012 thing, how can you trust it's true? You know, I mean, I just want to keep your heads up on that one. Let's see here. This might be it. Yeah, they took part of it down. But anyway, but I mean, if you Google it, you'll find out that those are people that are supporting us. Think twice before donating towards Kony 2012. Okay, if you've attended school once in the last week, you should be very familiar with Joseph Kony. Video from nonprofit Invisible Children released March 5th reached more than 30 million views by March 8th. By Sunday, it had reached 72 million. Kony 2012 is a campaign designed by the group to create fame for Kony, a militia leader in Uganda. Kony is accused of abducting children to be soldiers in his army or wives for his officers. According to Invisible Children's website, it says his militia, the Lord's Resistance Army, is encouraged to rape, mutilate, and kill civilians. I don't doubt that part's true. I'm pretty sure this guy is a bad guy. I'm not doubting that. Okay? But I think this is taken way out of proportion, and I think they are spinning this big time, which they like to do. And they're really good at fooling and deceiving the masses, and I have a feeling if you're buying into this, I think you are being fooled and deceived. LRA's 26-year history, it has abducted more than 30,000 children and displaced at least 2.1 million people, the website states. Invisible Children, which works to raise awareness about the tactics and funds, programs, and assistance for Uganda, wants to shed light on Kony's brutal tactics. When you hear that Invisible Children's cause seems like a good one, right? Making a war criminal pay for his crimes seems legit, right? Yeah. Most people think so. The Oprah Winfrey Foundation, there you go. Now, can you actually trust her? I mean, you know what she's all about. The whole spiritualist, new age garbage that, she spews. Even donated $2 million to the group. Okay? It sounds like a great cause until you hear Invisible Children has come under fire for some issues about many of those involved in this campaign and concern over the facts of the campaign. For one, the facts of the cause are interesting. The height of the Uganda conflict with Kony, guess what, took place in 2003. Right there. And since being named the most wanted war criminal by the International Criminal Court in 2005, Kony has been living outside of Uganda. His militia is not operating in Uganda either. Believe me when I say Joseph Kony deserves his punishment for terrorizing the innocent people of Uganda for as long as he did. But Invisible Children isn't the charity many believe it to be. According to his 2011 tax returns, Invisible Children's purpose is defined officially as Invisible Children uses film, creativity, and social action to end the use of child soldiers in Joseph Kony's rebel war and restore LRA-affected communities in Central Africa to peace and prosperity. The group declared about $7 million in expenses for its stateside programs which focus on advocacy and spreading the message to do more than just watch. It says $3.8 million was spent on the group's initiatives, including a biannual film tour, cross-platforms media campaigns, and grassroots awareness events. I mean, that right there should raise some questions. I mean, they are banking on this thing big time. A Ugandan woman says he's already dead. Here's a video. I will put a link to the video below. She's actually from Uganda, and you know, I mean, you can't really blame what she says. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, if you remember, back in October 14, 2011, this is when this article came out, 1:54 p.m., Obama sends 100 U.S. troops to Uganda to help combat LRA's army. Alright. So this was already going on. And obviously, bingo, ABC, not really much trust you can put in them. It goes on about the whole kidnapping tens of thousands, which I'm not denying that they did. Okay? But it gets even more interesting. This is the mainstream article. Okay, U.S. after Uganda's oil reserves. There's a video you can play here. It's 22 minutes, 24 minutes long. All of these links I'll post below. And it states, a number of U.S. troops have recently been sent to Uganda to fight the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, which is accused by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity, including mass murder, sex slavery, and recruiting child soldiers. The thing is, why do we have to be the police country of the world, okay? Why do we have to get our note? Why? There's really there's no point in it. There's. But I believe you're about to find out why here in a moment. However, experts are saying that the U.S. has entered the troubled region to gain favor of Uganda's newly discovered oil deposits and to support its proxy war against the al-Shabaab movement in Somalia. About 8,000 Ugandan troops make up the majority forces fighting in Somalia instead of dealing with the LRA in their own country. Press TV has interviewed with Steve Malindwa, a political analysis to discuss the issue. And Press TV says, Steve Malindwa, some people say good, we want the American support. They look at what's happened in North Africa and the destruction of the Gaddafi regime, done with Western NATO help. And they say, actually, when the West gets involved in Africa, it doesn't always go the way we don't want it to go. Sometimes it works for us. And Malindwa says, I'll probably say one thing here. It is that, of course, as the other speaker on the show, Mr. Vincent, has said, LRA hasn't been active for years. But the fact is, now, this is an individual who was from Uganda. Okay? He's from there. But the fact is that it's still in existence. It's a fact that it's still in the Congo and other areas of Congo. I think this is probably one of the reasons why. But would you accept that wherever it goes, it is a disruptive and frightening force, especially for the people, the villagers who I don't know, are the victims of these guys without protection? Melinda says, I think that I'll accept that it's still a threat, but having said that, it doesn't cause future Americans coming in because it hasn't been a threat to the country for a very long time. But there's a picture that people forget to look at, and that is the fact that the American interest has to come in, and America's worried about China now. It's worried about India. It's worried about Brazil. It's worried about other economies that are coming in. Oil could be a key factor. Obviously, everybody is. I mean, so really, I believe the main thing is going on here is the fact of the whole Ugandan oil. Okay? And it goes on. Like I said, video's up there, you can play it. Alright. Here's another quite lengthy article. President Barack Obama's decision to send 100 troops into northern Uganda to help fight the LRA has sparked major debate, with contributions coming from sources as diverse as journalist John Pilger, actress Mia Farrow, and even shock jock Rush Limbaugh. Not the typical African policy experts. It is being touted by many as an altruistic humanitarian intervention in response to pressure from human rights groups. While the move is commendable, describing it as a humanitarian intervention is a bit generous. This deployment is purely about U.S. strategic interests, and intervention in Uganda based only on the interests of its citizens would look drastically different. Okay. It goes on further. The Ugandan government has been asking for help with battling the rebels for at least 20 years, but it has received little assistance. Furthermore, after decades of fighting, the LRA is clearly on its last leg. LRA Crisis Tracker reports that the group is currently only about 250 strong, not 30,000 children strong, fighting for them. So, I mean, it's this, and it's all about the global war on terror. U.S. is rebranding its involvement in Uganda this way in order to cozy up the Ugandan government as they pursue the usual U.S. strategic objectives, countering Chinese expansion on the continent, securing access to newly discovered Ugandan oil, there it is, and continuing the global war on terror. You know, so that's basically what it's about. It's about this whole war on terror thing. It's about oil. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's basically what it's about. Okay. This is basically a blog site here. Sago.com. Joseph Kony is evil, but U.S. troops do not belong in Uganda. I agree. Joseph Kony is a bad person. I am disgusted by him. That's not the argument here. I am completely opposed to U.S. military action in Uganda, and here's why. He states points. First of all, it is not in our national security interest. The Lord's Resistance Army is no threat to the United States. The Constitution only allows war for self-defense. This would be an offensive war. The second reason is our military is spread too thin. Our troops are fighting multiple wars across the globe. We owe it to them to be more selective about the fights we take on. There's no such thing as a humanitarian war. That's an oxymoron. War is war. Look at Libya. We were told that our military was there with good intentions, but they actually ended up killing tons of innocent civilians. Sending troops to Uganda is unfair. There are terrible human rights in dozens and dozens of countries. Why just send troops to Uganda? Why stop here? Why not send troops to Congo and Ivory Coast? It goes on. President Obama's actions have been unconstitutional. Only Congress can declare war. It is unconstitutional for President Obama to send troops wherever he feels like it. This I don't agree with because the United States is basically the world police. Look at all the bases they got all over the world, but it is arrogant to think that we can solve all the world's problems by intervening. And you know what? That's the key that makes a lot of people very angry at us. Because we stick our noses in their business and everything like that, and it's only going to get us in trouble. And it's only a matter of time. I mean, it's a ticking time bomb, guys. um, you know, wars have unintended consequences. We all see how bad the U.S. government screwed up Iraq. Our government has a track record of making things worse, most messy, less stable. When they meddle, when they meddle. Remember, it was the hunt for a Somalia bad guy that led to Black Hawk Down in 1993, which killed 18 soldiers and wounded 80. So, with all that said, um, all of these things I showed you, uh, make sure you check out these videos. Like I said, I'll post the links below. Um, you really got to ask yourself some questions and really ask yourself if this stuff is really legit. I mean, that's up to you if you want to buy into it or not. Me personally, I really don't, because obviously, like said, the LRA has not even been active since 2003, or it's very, very weak. And there's a possibility that this guy, this Kony guy, is already dead. Or the U.S. already has him in custody, and much like the whole Osama bin Laden fiasco, which was totally staged, and the photos prove it. I mean, that was photoshopped. You could tell that was faked. He's been dead for a while. He's been dead for a while, and and it's the same thing with the whole Iran situation. We haven't learned from Iraq, and because of the fact, we're going in there because of weapons of mass destruction. Well, we're doing the same thing with Iran. And I mean, yes, I speak from a biblical standpoint, but that's from a secular standpoint. We haven't learned a lesson from Iraq. You know, we keep on buying into this mainstream media hype of all this stuff. And a lot of YouTube preachers or prophecy teachers are buying into this stuff. I mean, they report on it constantly. Not saying all of you, but I think they're just as deceived as a lot of other people. And I could be wrong on all this, but these are the questions I'm raising. Since it's coming from the mainstream media, since it's got a lot of mainstream hype from mainstream supporters supporting invisible children, is this actually a legit story? You gotta ask yourself those questions. So, till next time, truth be told, truth be known. Blessings, everybody. Be careful out there. Stay vigilant. And, don't believe everything that you hear. Alright. Bye-bye, everybody.